Ladies and gentlemen, we haven't talked about trace rifles for quite a while on this channel, but that ends today as we're set to take a good hard look at everyone's favorite frozen hunk of driftwood, Ruinous Effigy. This review was requested by Soulseeker, Elio Hanna, and the one and only Buckaroo Bonsai. This was a weapon that garnered a fair bit of excitement when it was first released, but one that I've been dreading doing a weapon review on. And it's not because I don't like the weapon, because I do. I simply realized the sheer amount of time that it was going to take to properly review this weapon and put it through its paces. There's just a whole lot going on with Ruinous Effigy, and I'm going to do my best to explain it as clearly and efficiently as possible. And fingers crossed that I don't miss anything, because this is a weapon that is truly not like any other currently in the game. If you do have access to the Season of Arrivals content, you still can pick this quest up from the Prismatic Recaster. But make sure you finish it up soon, because there's no telling how you'll be able to acquire this gun once Beyond Light drops. And I really think this is a weapon that is definitely worth having in your arsenal. And even though it is slated to get nerfed in the upcoming expansion, I think Ruinous Effigy still can be a strong option. But we have a lot to talk about. And if at any point during this video you find it useful, helpful, or enjoyable, please remember to hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you are not already. Both really do go a long way in helping this channel grow and helping this video reach more people. But as always, we'll start off the review by taking a look at the weapon stats and perks. Ruinous Effigy is an exotic void trace rifle firing at 1,000 rounds per minute with 94 rounds in the magazine, and trace rifles do use special ammo. Taking a look at the stats, when compared to other trace rifles that are currently in the game, the handling is pretty solid, but the rest of the stats are on the lower end, most notably the range stat, which is considerably lower than other trace rifles. Checking the hidden stats on Light.gg, we have an aim assist value of 84, which makes Ruinous Effigy the only trace rifle without a 100 in the aim assist stat. But we do have a bounce intensity of 4 and a recoil of 96, which is causing the pull from this weapon to be mainly vertical. The intrinsic trait is Transmutation, where final blows with this weapon collapse victims into void transmutation spheres. This pairs directly with the exotic perk Evolution. Transmutation spheres that you create can be picked up and wielded as a weapon by you or your allies, so you can perform a light attack, a heavy attack, or create an area of effect damage bubble. We're gonna dive into all these in great depth in just a few moments. There is also a catalyst available, which can be unlocked by shooting 30 of Savathun's eyes with Ruinous Effigy that are scattered throughout the system, or by defeating 5,000 enemies with this weapon. You can mix and match these and still make progress on the quest. For example, if you shoot 15 eyes and then defeat 2,500 enemies, that'll do it, but anyway. Once the catalyst is unlocked, Ruinous Effigy will deal increased damage to enemies who have been damaged by the Transmutation Sphere. And with that, buckle up, because it's time to take a look at this weapon's damage and functionality. Alright, we got a whole lot of stuff to unpack here. First off, we see as we kill the enemy, they turn into the Transmutation Sphere. If you leave these things lying on the ground, they will disappear in 30 seconds. If you die, they will disappear. If you pick one up and then drop it, it will disappear. You can create multiple spheres, but once the second sphere is on the field, not each kill is guaranteed to spawn. But regardless of how long the sphere has been lying around, when you pick it up, you'll have a 30-second timer to wield it, and that timer will begin to count down as soon as you pick it up. Each light attack that you perform will spend 1 second from the timer, making them essentially free. When using the area of effect bubble, the timer will accelerate to 3 times its normal speed as you hold down the guard button. And when a heavy attack is performed, you'll slam the orb, destroying it in the process. The heavy attack also does have a blast effect when you slam the sphere. The blast radius seems to be between 4 and 5 meters, but we'll take a look at this a little more closely in the PvP testing. This attack locks on to enemy targets very aggressively and can turn your Guardian 90 degrees to hit an enemy. If you perform the slam attack while in the air, you will not track onto an enemy and you will not carry momentum, so you're going to hit whatever is directly beneath you. For the drain attack, the bubble created also seems to have a radius of approximately 4 meters. This will damage enemies that are in the area of effect. You will steal life from damaged enemies, and you will gain increased damage resistance. If you continue to hold the guard button after the timer reaches 1, your damage field will continue, but you will start taking self-damage from the sphere, and eventually it will kill you. For the damage inflicted by the various attacks, keep in mind that PvE damage is relative to your power level and the enemy's power level, but hopefully this can give you a good baseline of what to expect. The light attack is hitting for 7,653 points of damage. The Drain attack is dealing 2,551 points of damage per tick, and they appear to have a frequency of 4 ticks per second. The Heavy attack is dealing 38,261 points of damage, and as you can see, our captain friend over here is taking a good bit of that damage also. To get a sense of the damage from the actual beam fired from Ruinous Effigy, we can compare it to other trace rifles. First, Wave Splitter, which does have oscillating damage values, does between 674 points of damage and 1,091 points of damage on a crit. Prometheus Lens is dealing 570 points of damage on a crit, which is tuned to be lower because it does carry area of effect damage with it also. And then Cold Hard, whose damage does ramp up as we hold the beam on a target. It's doing 674 points of damage to start and maxes out at 1,164 points of damage. Ruinous Effigy is dealing a flat 907 points of damage on a crit, but we do have the damage increase applied by the Catalyst to look at. By striking a target with the Transmutation Sphere, they will take 30% more damage from Ruinous Effigy's beam, allowing it to crit for 1,179 points of damage. The Light attack will apply this debuff. The Heavy attack will apply this debuff. The Drain attack does not. Once you hit a target with a sphere, you will have a 5-second window to begin damaging that target with Ruinous Effigy before the effect is nullified. Once you start dealing damage to the affected target, the debuff can last for up to 15 seconds as long as you're maintaining damage. For the recoil on this weapon, it will climb quite steadily when unchecked, but it's not all that bad to rein in by just pulling down a little bit as you fire. And for the physical range of this weapon, we will start to see damage fall off at the 24 meter mark. And do keep in mind that all this testing was done before the release of Beyond Light. In Beyond Light, Ruinous Effigy will see a 25% damage reduction on in-air attacks, and a significant damage reduction from the Drain attack. But I think that covers everything, hopefully. So let's head into PvE and Gambit and talk about Ruinous Effigy's performance in there. So, in my opinion, Ruinous Effigy is pretty darn impressive. These transmutation spheres are quite powerful, and the beam itself is pretty potent as well. Like other trace rifles, it does melt down most targets very quickly, but making those transmutation spheres is what this weapon is all about. First off, the Drain ability basically makes you a walking fortress. You can just waltz straight through packs of trash ads and they all just die. And if you happen to take some damage on your leisurely stroll, you'll also be leeching life from the enemies inside the bubble, replenishing your health. Just as the timer's about to run out, you can slam the sphere into the ground with that extremely powerful Heavy attack, decimate any targets in the vicinity, shoot another target with Ruinous Effigy, and start the cycle all over again. This is a very fun, very entertaining, and very powerful gameplay loop. If you run into a more tanky target, you can slam the orb on them and apply that 30% debuff, allowing Ruinous Effigy to output some pretty respectable damage, provided you do have the Catalyst unlocked. And then in Gambit, Ruinous Effigy is nearly game-breaking. While I don't consider it to be a great invasion weapon, sides of ads can be cleared very quickly while picking up motes in the process. And then in standard Gambit, it's pretty incredible in the boss fight. Being a void weapon, it can tear through those void-shielded envoys very quickly. And when guarding with the Drain attack, you can completely ignore the boss's stomp mechanic. And unlike all the other trace rifles, these transmutation spheres are going to be the main source of your damage. So the ammo economy of this weapon is going to be much less of an issue. There are just a couple issues with this weapon though. Damage from range is definitely not one of its strong suits. 24 meters is not a terribly long optimal range, and the spheres do require you to be in the thick of things most of the time. And once the ads dry up in a particular encounter, this gun loses a good bit of its punch. You're losing the ability to create transmutation spheres, in turn losing the ability to debuff bosses or mini-bosses for significant damage. But really, that's about it. Overall, Ruinous Effigy is a pretty effective weapon in PvE and Gambit. But what can Ruinous Effigy do for us in the Crucible? We'll first take a look at the damage numbers before analyzing its performance. Alright, for the PvP damage numbers, Ruinous Effigy is doing 17 points of damage on a crit and 13 points of damage to the body, giving us an optimal time to kill of 0.73 seconds requiring 10 crits and 1 body shot, and a body shot time to kill of 0.93 seconds requiring 15 shots landed. When wielding a Transmutation Sphere, you'll do 150 points of damage on a light attack, so 2 attacks will deal lethal damage. The Heavy attack will deal 300 points of damage, so this is a one-hit kill, And we do see that extreme lock-on capability, turning 90 degrees and lunging 4 meters to make contact with the target. That 4 to 5 meter blast radius is still present, giving us the ability to score a one-hit kill when the target is roughly 4 meters away. For the drain attack, it's doing approximately 10 damage per tick at a frequency of 4 ticks per second. So the area of effect can down a guardian in roughly 5 seconds. Plus, the life leeching capability is still present in PvP. For the damage resistance, Agent Sparkles was hitting me for 19 points of damage on a crit without the bubble activated. When I was guarding with the bubble up, she was hitting me for only 6 points of damage on a crit. So by guarding with the Transmutation Sphere, incoming damage is reduced by 66%. And here again we are looking at an optimal range of about 23 meters. Stepping back to 24, we do start to see damage fall off. And with that, let's take a look at how Ruinous Effigy performs in the Crucible. In PvP, Ruinous Effigy is, well, the usage rate is 0.03%. But let's talk about the bright spots first. The base body shot time to kill of 0.93 seconds is really fast. There are several weapon archetypes in the game whose optimal time to kill is 0.93 seconds. So this is a really solid benefit. And given that we do have a 23 meter optimal range, this can give Ruinous Effigy a leg up on sidearms, SMGs, and over-aggressive shotgun apes. The sights on the gun are really nice also. It's clean, it's wide open, and it's very easy to track your targets with. And the ability to score one-hit kills or one-hit multi-kills with the heavy strike from the Transmutation Sphere is really cool. It can be fun to bait a corner and wait for an unsuspecting victim to round it, only to be greeted by a Transmutation Pie to the face. Also, if you can get the drop on a tightly grouped pack of enemies, you can potentially down the whole group. But you really do need to catch them off guard. There were several times where I ate a shotgun round during the windup of the slam, and that felt really bad. Then with the light attack, you can cover some distance with the lunge from it, but it still takes 2 hits to down an enemy player, which is not all that dissimilar from a standard melee attack. Then with the drain effect, the increased damage resistance can get you out of a jam from time to time, but it isn't a terribly effective offensive option in PvP. Then the base optimal time to kill of 0.73 seconds from the laser itself I used to consider pretty solid. And as long as you can keep on your target and land those 10 crits in one body, it's not all that bad, I guess. But there are weapons out there that can flat out outgun it both inside and outside of its optimal range. Which, I mean, kinda isn't cool because Ruinous Effigy is a trace rifle and it does require special ammo. Therefore, it's really not a weapon that you can reliably lean on for the whole Crucible match. And you're really not going to want to equip your one-hit kill special weapons like shotguns, snipers, or fusions alongside of it. Unless, of course, you're okay with being ammo-starved, which isn't really my thing. And then we do have both a low range and a low aim assist stat when compared to other trace rifles, which makes Ruinous Effigy feel a little less consistent and a little less reliable. Now I do play on PC, and when compared to other trace rifles, I didn't notice much of a performance change when using mouse and keyboard. But I did plug in a controller because I really wanted to see how it affected the reticle stickiness. And I gotta say, it does not seem to grab targets nearly as hard as other trace rifles do. And while this is certainly a trade-off for Ruinous Effigy's increased utility, I'm not sure if it's a good trade-off to make in the Crucible. For the verdict, Ruinous Effigy, while it's not a weapon that I plan on using all that often in the Crucible, it is a really cool gun for PvE. And while I'm certain that there are people out there that can perform very well with this gun in PvP, I feel like it lands best on the other side of the game. You're gonna see many more opportunities to use the Transmutation Spheres as they were intended, and you're really going to be able to experience the power of this weapon to its fullest extent. But do keep in mind this weapon is going to be receiving those nerfs in just about 1 week, and I really think the biggest hit that it's going to be taking is to the drain attack. We're going to have to keep an eye on that and see how much weaker the function will be, because in my opinion, this could hurt the weapon's performance significantly. But those questions are going to be answered in the near future. And since you made it to this point in the video, a like would be greatly appreciated, and consider subscribing to the Ironworker Gaming channel to keep up with more weapon reviews and sandbox discussions going into Beyond Light. You can look for Ironworker814 on Twitch if you'd like to catch me live. And if you want to contact me, the best way to do so is to comment down below. I'll be sure to get back to you. And with all that being said, I'd like to thank you for taking the time out of your day to check out this weapon review. You guys are awesome, and I will catch you on the next one.